Looks like it. It blew up. Oh, big impact there.
Spooky Lou Carbon Barker, episode 49 of WrestleRoni. And man, we're going as north as we can tonight. We going to the North Pole. We going to Santa Claus territory, baby. The one, the only, the promoter, the owner of Totally Arctic Wrestling also has a big matchup coming with the one and only Cheeseburger in Boca Raton, Florida. What the hell? He's up north. He's down south. I don't understand it. He's going on the Jericho cruise. Deztro the Eskimofo. Man, that's a mouthful, man. Did I do all right?
Derek, that was awesome. Dude, you did great. That's fucking cool, man. I love it. I love it.
Hell yeah. How we feeling?
Dude, I am great. I'm feeling great. I just it's kind of a mixed emotion day though, right? Because I'm leaving town tomorrow. Where I am in the Arctic coast is like I'm a good hour and a half away from the actual Arctic coast of mainland North America. So I'm like right up there, just east of Alaska for everybody like that's can sort of picture that.
Mm-hmm.
The very northern tip of the continent is where I am. And so I've got to take a bunch of flights to get down to Miami, which is where I'm heading for number one, a wrestling show, and then the Chris Jericho cruise. And that's just like the first part of my whole travel that's going to be the next 3 weeks of my life. So it's kind of wild, man. It's kind of going all over the place. I was all really happy because today was my last day of work. And I was like waiting for 5 o'clock. You know, I work in the trucking industry. I'm the freight manager at our warehouse. So I kind of oversee everything. And the guys that are working in the warehouse, we just offload and make sure everything gets to where it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, as I'm walking out the door, I walk out, and to my dismay, because my friend, I don't like to work. Okay, I am not a worker. I'm very much a work smart, not hard, or work not at all kind of guy.
Hell yeah.
I look, and there is a full-on deck truck semi-trailer just pulled up off the highway, frozen, just lumber, a couple of snowmobiles on top of it, and some steel and iron. And he wasn't supposed to be in until tomorrow when I'm officially off the clock. Oh. So I'm like, yo, and he's like, yeah, I just talked to the boss, man. Guess what's happening? And I'm like, I got you. So I'm working tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. So that I'm not officially off work yet. So that is why I'm a little bit torn. It's a little bit of a bittersweet symphony here.
For sure. And you know what? Let's call a spade here. All that traveling, you're unloading trucks, snowmobiles on top of them. So my God, let's call a spade. Cheeseburger got the advantage coming into this match. Come on now.
So I liken it to Rocky, right? You see Cheeseburger, you look at him, and he's in his gym, and he's working out, he's training, he's got his school, he's doing very good things there with a Worldwide Dojo. I got to say, man, we started off so good. Cheese and I started off so good. It's a really classic Sean and Diesel, good friends, better enemies thing. We started off so good. We were friends. We went on the cruise together. We stayed at the same place together before, and we were really good friends. I invited him to come up to Inuvik. Stoner cough, not sickness related at all. Believe me, I'm in top form. Not top form. I don't take care of myself. But anyways, regardless, I'm starting to diverge or digress a bit. Cheese and I were really good friends, man. I invited him to come all the way up here to the Arctic coast and come and see the culture, you know, take in the shows. You know, we handsomely rewarded him. We compensated him handsomely to come up here. And we said, brother, man, have a great time. You know, have a great time with us. And he did. He had such a good time. The powers that be decided, because I was the champion at the time, that because Cheeseburger was the biggest name we'd ever had in TAW. We've had M-Dog Matt Cross since then. So it's kind of like, wow, you know, we're getting up there with names, right? We're having a lot of fun up here.
Good.
So the powers that be said, Cheeseburger's coming up. We're here, and it's the middle of summer. The show is called Delta Days, D-A-Z-E. And they said, is it Z or Z to you?
It's Z.
Z. Okay, so yeah, Z. The days, right? You're in a days. And they said, let's book Cheeseburger against our champion. And I'm like, man, like, come on, right? Like, he's my friend, and I just don't have to go this way. Long story short, Cheeseburger ends up tapping me up for my championship right in my hometown. I was
Oh,
pretty pissed off. Took Goldie away from me. The summer of the Eskimofo got cut off so short in the middle of July. I was so choked. So from there, it sort of became a tale of resentment. I kind of like saw him in a different way, you
yeah.
know? It was kind of like, okay, so now he's the champion. But he, this is funny because Cheeseburger was the third champion in our promotion, right? In
Okay.
our promotion's history, he was our third champion, but he was also the shortest reign. He was like a transitional champion. He was like, it was hilarious. He lost it the next night to Nolar Bear, who's from Tuck, the coast, on the Arctic coast. When I say I'm an hour and a half away from the Arctic coast, there's a community there, a whaling community that's Inuvialuit, Western
Okay.
Eskimo. So that's where my family's from. So Nolar Bear wrestles from there. He's very traditional. This guy like hunts. He does everything. He's a man of the land. He's legit.
Mm-hmm.
He's awesome. So shout out to Nolar Bear. He beat Cheeseburger in his hometown, at a home in front of his mom and the former premier of our territory, like our member of like our government leader, elected leader. They were both in the front row. They're both from there. It was a whole big moment. It was beautiful. And I could only feel happy about that because like I was like, thank God. Because I didn't want to, like, because I said, like, Cheeseburger came up here on us, and I know he would have hit me up for that excess baggage of taking our championship home in his bag because it would have put him overweight. I know he would have hit us up for that.
So
That guy.
you mentioned Nolar Bear, and he's very traditional, and it springs to mind who. How does a scene pop up there? I'm not familiar. I don't know if it's populated or not. You obviously have a successful wrestling promotion. Some of your own guys, so somebody's got to be training them. How did this scene come about so far north?
Yeah. So, wow. Great question. Okay. Great question. So, for everybody that doesn't know, TAW is the first promotion this far north in Canada that's come up. Even if you look at the Alaskan promotions that do tour in Alaska
Mm-hmm.
and like 907 Pro Wrestling, they're in communities that are farther south, right? So even though they're in the most northern state, which is in the Arctic, right?
Yeah.
We are the only ones in the Arctic Circle. So if you looked at a map of the world, we're the only ones in the Arctic Circle in the world.
Hell yeah.
Um, this this started because we wanted to, like, this was our thing. Me, myself, Blue Wilder, my buddy Blue. He's been a wrestling fan his whole life, right? He's a really awesome dude. He's a great wrestler. We've been wrestling together 3 years. We there was an indie show that came up here, indie promotion out of Edmonton, Alberta. They came up to Inuvik in 2002.
Okay.
They did 2 shows. They did a weekend of shows. A company up here paid for them to come up. They chartered a plane. They brought about maybe 10 indie guys, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Brutus Beefcake, King Kong Bundy, and shit, who else was there? They all came up and they did like the big show and stuff, and they were all like at the bar, at the hotel, you know what I mean? Like just small town shit, right? Like it's small town.
Mm-hmm.
But we had such a good weekend. But the weekend cost the company 25 grand because they had to ship the ring up and all the talent and pay everybody and all the performers fees and whatever else, right? It cost 25 grand for a weekend of shows. And I was at both of them and they did not sell enough to like it was like 20 bucks a ticket or something, or 40 bucks a ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like there's no way they made the money back on sales. And there was, I think, just like a real sort of like indie level amount of merch. There wasn't like t-shirts made and sold for the events.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine if they like, because this is thing now, this is me being my promoter brain. I don't know if that's what you want to call it or if it's just me the way I think. But like, why wouldn't they book it as like all over the fucking place here?
You're
In
fucking.
1995, Molson Beer did a fucking concert here in the Arctic coast at Tuck
Mm-hmm.
called the Molson Polar Beach Party. It was a concert headlined by Metallica. It had Hole, Veruca Salt, and moist. And so Metallica coming here, I was 12 years old. There's a picture of me, like this is a video, right? We're taking
Yeah,
video of this.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's a picture of me here at 12 years old. And I've got like, I'm in front of this fucking big Molson thing here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Molson Polar Beach Party, 12 years old, seeing Metallica. They made a whole event out of it. So when these guys came up here for wrestling, you would think that it'd be like the wrestling tour, the most northern pro wrestling in the world, right? Because they didn't know it at the time, maybe.
Right.
But like there were t-shirts to make. There was fucking like stuffies of polar bears wearing fucking wrestling gear. There was endless possibilities of shit that they could have still done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the concert that's there, there's a banner there. People still have those hanging on their fucking walls, just faded because they're 30 years old now, right? Like this is the kind of shit. Like we made wrestling posters for shows. So fast forward a bit, me and my buddy, it's 2019, and we say, you know what? We're big wrestling fans, and it'd be fucking cool if we put on a wrestling match, like the youth center on the mats, on the gym mats.
Okay.
Recorded it, just me and him fucking around, yarder style, just fucking around, really just untrained, dirty shit or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then we were gonna do commentary on it, but record the video of us doing commentary, like wearing different like costumes as characters, and then we were gonna do pre and post like interviews
Hell yeah.
as different characters, but just the two of us. So we were gonna play all these different roles, right, and make this production. And it was like, man, if we're gonna do all this, and why the fuck don't we just like actually like learn how to wrestle, right?
Okay.
I go to my buddy, he's got money, right? This is like I'm an idea guy, and he just works really fucking hard, right?
Cool.
So I said, hey man, I want to fucking bring wrestling to the north. I said, what if we brought wrestling here? We train some local, like whoever wants to learn, we'll learn with them. We can bring wrestlers up to train us, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, man, like fucking, I'm in. He says, he's been my friend since high school, since we were 15. I'm 40 now, right? Okay. And he's like, bro, man, I believe in you. So he put up $5,000 for me to fucking buy a ring. And so I didn't shop around with like, hey, I need a pro wrestling ring. What ended up happening was my brother-in-law was just getting out of this phase where he was teaching his sons how to box.
Oh.
So they had a fucking MMA ring in their garage. Mm-hmm. And it's 2,500 pounds of fucking iron. And it's not built like a pro wrestling ring with square tubing and shocks in the middle and shit, right?
Right.
This is a platform. When you fall on this, you're not supposed to get up, right? Like you're done. It's a fucking it's heavy. So I buy this in Edmonton. So Edmonton is like, for those of you who don't know, Edmonton, Alberta. I'm in the Northwest Territories, full province up. And because of Canada's fucking wild ass geography and hugeness, vastness, it's a long distance. So it's a highway, and it's at least a few $1,000s worth of transportation costs. I fucking cut a deal with one of my good friends. His name is Kurt Wainman. He owns Northwind Industries. That's where I work now, actually, in the trucking department for him. This is funny because it's really full circle, all of this shit. Small town. He, again, man, he saw what we were doing and what we wanted to do, and he said, if you guys fucking have a ring, I'll ship it up here for free. It's thousands of dollars worth of shit. Like, I'll bring it up for free. So not only does he do this for us, but then he says, because we're like, yo, man, we got the ring here, but there's nowhere. And especially right now, it's -40 is -40, whether it be Celsius or Fahrenheit, right? Wow. It's insane. So fucking -40 is as cold as it gets here. Like right now, it's -30 on our range. It's getting down there with the wind chill, right? It's fucking cold. You don't want to be outside. Mm-hmm. We don't have space. Like insulated space is very expensive. Heated space, right? Okay. So, but Kurt says, hey man, I've got a garage. It's a big warehouse. It's a big steel warehouse, uninsulated, not heated at all. But it's got big sliding doors on it. It's where I keep all my summer toys, like the fucking quad and the side-by-side and his old crash derby car. I could, like, if you look us up on YouTube, Totally Arctic Wrestling, you'll see our Saturday night Skoden program. And that's where we shoot it in the warehouse during COVID. We thought of a way to keep our wrestling going during the pandemic. Because we're so remote, a lot of our restrictions were laxer, right?
Okay.
So we were able to actually wrestle each other as long as there was only 5 of us in contact in like a bubble and all this kind of bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got this warehouse now, and right now, so what we did was we did a Christmas episode this year in our 3rd year. We did a Christmas special where I wanted to win a match to get to meet Santa Claus, and for $500 because I didn't have any Christmas shopping done. It's the whole thing. I play a piece of shit on TV because I'm a piece of shit, right? So I go to this match, and it's called the Icebox match because it's fucking, you can see the breath, like just, right? Like it's cold as fuck. The lighting is literally the high beams off of a truck. Like it couldn't be any more Street Fighter if we tried, right?
Hell yeah.
And because our warehouse is with a ring now, okay, I'm kind of jumping all over the fucking place. We finally got a pro wrestling ring just this year.
Okay.
Like we've done 2 shows out of 5, 6, 7, 8 shows we put on now in 3 years here in our town and in the next one. Mm-hmm. And for years that was in a fucking boxing ring.
Lucha Libre style, baby.
But that's it, right? That's it. So you learn it's a different. So because we don't have territories, because we're not a startup in a world of pro wrestling scene already, we're the first ones. The crowd is very new to it all. So that was when our trainer said, Mad Dog Marty Sugar. Mad Dog is awesome. Marty is from Kelowna in British Columbia. And I used to be on the town council here in our town, right? I was actually a politician. Well, not a good one, but I was a politician. I'm like Diamond Joe Quimby, except for like at a lower level. And he's the brother of one of my former town councilors. So she was like, yeah, if you're getting into pro wrestling, my brother's been doing it for 15 years, and he has his own promotion for 8. So he could probably give you some insights. Okay. So we flew him up, and he was like, yeah, man, this crowd is so, like, we did our first show November. It was fucking minus 30 outside, cold as fuck. And it was it was November 16th, and it was 2019. And man, we were expecting to fucking wrestle in front of 10 people and have them just laughing at us because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing, right?
Okay. Right.
Instead, we packed the Friendship Center. It's called the Ingamo Hall Friendship Center. It's the oldest building in our community, and it's a log cabin. Like I said, look us up on YouTube. We've done like a bunch of shows there because it's such a fucking, it's a room that fits 200 people. But when you put a fucking 20-foot ring in it, it cuts it in half, right? Uh-huh. So we do 100 seats and standing room back in the right up to the walls, right? Fucking man alive. That first show we did, they were screaming. I tried to book because of course, Blue wants to be a hero. The other guys want to be good guys. And I'm like, fuck that, man. I want to be fucking booed. I want to walk through that curtain, and I want kids to yell at me, and I want parents to flip me off. I want it all, right? I want all that shit.
Right.
And I said, so we started a YouTube show, and we said, okay, let's start figuring it out. So if you watch our early YouTube shit from the very beginning, it's like, we should make a pro wrestling company. Who's going to fund it? So then there's a fucking guy that comes along with money, and then he has control, and it's a big thing. But like throughout the way, you can kind of see us gradually becoming who we are now, right? Uh-huh. We're finding our way with the characters and stuff. So it's been a whole lot of this big journey. But man, that first show, the energy was just fucking off the hook. And I was trying to be the bad guy to this good guy, right? To our trainer who's coming in from BC. But already the hometown boy versus the evil Southerner is such a better like angle. It's more of I don't think it's better, but it's sort of like the more low hanging fruit. You know what I mean? Like the more lowest common denominator. Like it's more just organic. Easy. Yeah, more organic. Yeah, right. But instead, the whole arc in the months from our training camp that we did with our trainer, we made YouTube shows out of that, to the promos leading up to it. Like he punches me in the head and stuff. the whole deal, right? Um, it was building up to me being like, I'm ready now. I'm ready for the big time now. And he's like, no, you're not, kid. No, you're not. And I'm like, F you. And I lay hands on him and he punches me out. And then he says, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to teach this kid a lesson. I'm going to wrestle him.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the show and they're screaming my name. They're in the middle of the opening matches. They're like, we want Dez. We want Dez. And I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to be going, right? I want them to not like me. So then I'm in Gorilla. We made this fucking dude. They gave us like we have our own pipe and drape, like little fucking like the steel with the curtains, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're taping the arrows together. It's our first fucking show. We're just totally into it, right? I'm standing there behind the curtain in the Gorilla, and holy fuck, dude. Oh my god. This fucking room of 100-something people just screaming and screaming, fucking Deztro, Deztro. And I'm like, this is not how this is going to go at all. I bust out and I start, get out of here, boo you. And I get on the microphone and I'm like, you're all fakers. You don't really like me. And I start insulting them. And then finally I make eye contact with a couple of them. And I'm like, come on, right? Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And they start booing me. And then one guy goes, you're breaking my heart and all this. And then they start turning. And it's been a wild ride since. Then COVID, man. We had posters made up. We had plane tickets booked for our next show. So we did November and we were planning April. We're not going to fucking rush it. It costs thousands of dollars to get to the nearest city, Edmonton, from us.
Okay.
So that's where the nearest wrestling scene is Edmonton. And it costs thousands of dollars to get there, just a return ticket. So like it's fucking astronomical. We can't just bring in 10 wrestlers a show, right?
Right.
So we plan this thing. We're bringing in 5 people, and then COVID fucking hits, and we're like, okay, it's January. Let's postpone until June, right? April is too early. Let's postpone until June, and then we all know how this fucking goes.
Yeah.
So we were just able, once the COVID restrictions lifted, we were able to put on big shows again, and the crowds were just so receptive, man. We've been, like I said, now we've done 7 shows now, live shows, and one of them was not a sellout, and we still had 60 people, and they were loud as fuck in a small room in that hall. So fucking good, man. It's such a rush, you know?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And it's funny, you had mentioned your YouTube channel, and while you was talking about it, I was like, wait a second. Totally Arctic Wrestling, YouTube channel, and I tell every guest before we start, I promise you, I'm looking you dead in the eyes when you're talking, but I had to break my own rule. I had to get on my phone and look it up, and I have been subscribed to you for over a year now, and I watched my first show about a year ago on your YouTube channel. And it's all clicking for me now. Like no shit, I've watched the Matt Cross match.
Nice.
So I'll definitely put a link in the description for the
Appreciate it.
folks watching. Definitely. Yeah, it was crazy when you said that. I was like, wait a second, and believe me, I watch a lot of independent wrestling on YouTube. So for that the light bulb to go off, that was a cool moment for me. So yeah, it's a small world after all, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. That's super cool.
That
That's
is,
super
that is,
cool.
and looking at your YouTube, you guys are killing it, man. You're cranking out the content, good, good.
Yeah, well, that was it. Our trainer said, like, you know, because we were in the middle of the pandemic, we couldn't have live shows, and he said, man, we should have like a YouTube, like not a weekly, but like do it, like, you know, have a show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we started throwing around like what we could do, and that's what it became, Saturday Night Skoden. And it's like it's a match with promos in it, and it's a lot of fun. But so the one thing now, I don't want to fucking like steal from somebody, but I feel like if I'm stealing from somebody, it should be those guys that stole from Tim. So I'm gonna steal from them.
Okay.
Their format, what they do is fucking smart. Okay, so here's what we do. First of all, what we do is we put on a live event, right? Like Pride Before the Fall. We put on an event like Pride Before the Fall, and it's, you know, fucking 4 matches or whatever, right? We don't have very big cards because there's only a few of us, and most of the times it's singles matches, and then those singles are doing a tag match, or you know what I mean? Like it's very simple. It's very very small.
Mm-hmm.
Our events are like an hour and something, so that people leave still energized. It doesn't take your whole evening. You're not like blown out on, oh my god, this is the 10th match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's a fresh crowd, so everybody's like into it. And like Cheeseburger said, man, Cheese told us, he was like, dude, it's you just have to do so little here. You know, you just so little. You know, and Matt said the same thing. All Matt did was get up on the top rope and stand up. He said he just milked it. And he said, he's like, you know how long it's been since I felt that just from standing on the top rope?
Hell
He was
yeah.
like, the crowd was so into it, man. He did a stomp to our champion there because, like, oh, it was fucking beautiful. And it was just like, yo, we had Matt Cross do that with the match with Mitch Clark in Tuck, right? At the Kitty Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yo, man, I was like, yo, there's 100% a shooting star press bonus, right? Like
Okay.
there's 100% because we've like Blue Wilder does an elbow drop, but he really just kind of drops. He doesn't like jump, right?
Okay.
So top rope moves don't exist in TAW. So if we could get a shooting star press, it would be like the biggest move that's ever been seen in our ring, right?
Right.
So Matt is excited to do it because it's fucking like having a piece of toast to him. It's fucking natural, right? It's just easy.
Uh-huh.
We set up the show and we're fucking all pumped because, you know, we're like, okay, good. You know, the room is big. It's well lit. Everything is good here. It's all going good. And fucking, I hear, hey, Dez, come out here for a second. I'm like, what's going on? Matt Cross is standing on the top turnbuckle and he's touching the fucking ceiling like this.
Okay.
And he's like, bro, he's like, I'm not Billy Kidman. He's like, I fucking send it when I do my shooting star press. And I said, I get you. So we didn't get to do that, but he fucking delivered in fucking every sense of the word. It was amazing to have Matt up here, to have Cheeseburger up here. Just the people we have for 2023. Fuck, man, I'm working on some fucking things here. I'm working on some stuff. We're getting more and more eyes on us. We're getting actual government people now that are like, wait, you guys have created this thing that the community is invested in. The kids are invested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're training somebody now that's like in the 7th grade. You know what I mean? This kid
Hell
is
yeah.
turning 13 and he wants to learn. So we're teaching him some lockups and grappling and stuff, right? There's fucking people that want to come and be a part of it now. People are reaching out and saying, hey, during my pregnancy and stuff, I couldn't wrestle, but I've been at all your shows and we want to do this. We actually have a fan, a super fan, this kid. This kid must be like fucking 6 or something. And he just gives her. He's cheering. He's the loudest kid we have in our crowd. And when we did our show here in Inuvik and we drove up the hour and a half on a fucking windy trail, not even a highway, it's a trail. It's like one lane until you're passing somebody, then you kind of go off a bit, right?
Okay.
Fuck, man. This family drove that themselves. You know what I mean? And gas prices are fucking higher than me, right? Like, so they fucking wanted to see this show, dude. They fucking came out and we delivered, man. We always try to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fucking crazy because, like I said, I lived here. I'm 40 years old. I've been making short films here for fucking 10 years now, 11 years I've been making short films. I've been doing stand-up comedy, sketch comedy. I was on the radio. I was the newspaper editor. I've been on TV news here in the Arctic. Like a lot of people like have seen me try a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now with TAW, it's the first thing that's stuck, that resonates with the community at a level I did not ever expect.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm walking to the fucking store with my kid and my wife just this week. And outside of the fucking store, the department store, this little boy, he fucking couldn't have been taller than my fucking knee, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, Deztro. And I was like, I look back at my kid and I'm just like, play it cool, play it cool. And she's like, my kid looks at me, she's like, play it cool, just be cool. And I was like, she knows me, my kid knows me, you know, like I'm tearing up. It was a moment. And at that same visit to the store, an adult, because I work at the freight department, right? I manage the incoming stuff. I'm like, fucking Santa Claus at Christmas time. This guy's like, hey man, hey champ, is my skidoo coming in soon? And I said, as soon as it is, I'll let you know, dude. He's like, good stuff, good stuff. And I was like, wow,
Hell yeah.
people see the ads. I was just on the radio. I was just on the territorial radio, like the Arctic. It got picked up, I guess, all across the Arctic Canada. I was on the radio for the Miami show I'm going down to for Boca Raton.
Mm-hmm.
And man, fucking, I had people calling me out of the blue because I guess they aired it. And initially we did it live at 7:30 in the morning, but then they replayed it at noon and then at 4 p.m. So there was 3 showings that day on the radio. I got phone calls from every one of them. And people were like, and then messages. Hey, just heard you. Hey, good luck. And oh man, you got to take Cheeseburger's hair. And man, I can't believe that guy's what a fucking bastard, And I'm like, dude, wow, man. Like, I never, like, I've been, like I said, I've been acting for so long. I've been doing comedy for so long, and people give you feedback on that shit. That's cool.
Yeah.
But wrestling has got a fandom that is still so strong in the North, especially when you go to the more remote communities, that like, it's insane, man. It's just crazy,
And you see the success now, but by you being that first promotion, I don't even think you realize what you're doing. Let's talk about that 7th grader you're training. Let's talk about that kid that recognized you. Think about the next generation you're inspiring. You're starting a whole scene, and who knows who's going to come out of this scene that's going to be on AEW, that's going to be on WWE. It's got to happen.
That's it. So that's exactly it. And now this is where it like gets wild, right? So the first Jericho cruise, first Chris Jericho cruise, I met Chris. A month later, I'm at a Fozzy show of his, and it just clicks. One of my best friend knows him. There's a fucking whole deal. I become friends with his friends. So we start chatting, and now it's like fucking Wayne Gretzky going into a peewee fucking hockey game and looking at a kid and saying, hey man, I'm the fucking, you're good stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, that never fucking happens, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, I feel like I've just jumped this line, especially when you start thinking about how like wrestling is on that main level, when you're WWE or when you're AEW or Impact, anybody that tours with a televised wrestling program, they've used local indie guys since the beginning of time.
Yep.
Right? Whether they be security, whether they be on camera, whether they be in the ring as enhancement talent or something, especially now with AEW's model of elevation and dark.
Yeah.
Right? You're seeing a shit ton of indie people that are getting that shine, and they're finally getting that shine. Right? And so it's like, yo, man, but the fucking geography of it is that I'm literally breaking the bank. Like, I am breaking the bank to get down to fucking Boca Raton, Miami for this cruise, and then back up for what we'll talk about in a sec here at the death tour of Manitoba here in Canada. Like, this is coming, like, it's all out of pocket. Like, I'm not at a point where it's like, hey, we're getting your flights. Hey, we're giving you per diems. Hey, we're fucking giving you performance fees, right?
Right.
Like, I'm in there for the hot dog and a handshake, bro. I'm fucking there to set up the ring and to fucking learn from these people that I fucking love in this craft.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's such a tight-knit community. Dude, as soon as we started, I had legitimate promoters in Ontario, in fucking Vancouver, out of BC, Alberta, fucking Tim. Like, I had there's people all over across the States that are reaching out and just saying, hey, bro, like, this is cool as fuck. Welcome to it, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, people are so open, and people are like very much like, hey, dude, like, there's going to be, obviously with everything, there's predatory people. There's people that want to take advantage of you and just be self-serving. It's everywhere, especially in show business, in fucking entertainment, in live events. It's everywhere. It's egos everywhere, right?
Right.
And man, we were never supposed to. So this all goes back to that 2002 show with me being in the third row watching fucking wrestlers in a ring in my hometown, seeing the looks on the families' faces. Man, you guys fucking, man, did you see Monday Night Raw? Holy shit. We used to get together. There used to be 10 to 15 of us in my living room, fucking at the height of it for pay-per-views, man.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be fucking standing room only. You'd have to crawl over people to get to the fucking pisser. You know what I mean? We used to have parties where we'd go backyard wrestling when in our fucking 20s. In our fucking 20s, we'd be wrestling in the backyard with a camera.
Yep.
And one of our guys went to WWE Niagara Falls on a vacation and fucking spent $350 on a mini undisputed championship belt.
Okay.
The mini, because he didn't want to get the big one. Now I've got fucking 13. I've got fucking a championship replica belt collection of my own now.
Hell
Right? You know
yeah.
what I mean? Fuck, man. We've started at something so small. Wrestling's always been such a big part of the northern community here that we were never supposed to be the stars. It was never supposed to be Deztro in the main event, right? It was supposed to be us as the young lions bringing in the card.
Right.
Like, that was going to be it. We were going to. That's why when I booked Matt Cross and Mitch Clark, Mitch is fucking amazing. He's a former UFC fighter. He had 7 fights in the UFC and on a 3-fight win streak. For fuck's sakes, man. That is fucking impressive.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, holy piss. Like, his jiu-jitsu is off the charts, right? Like, his big clip is the Darce choke he did on Ally Quinta. It's fucking crazy. Like, it's like a underdog fucking holy fuck moment, right?
Okay.
This guy is amazing. When I fucking knew that Matt fucking was like, hey, man, Matt is one of the most fucking traveled wrestlers, like, in the world, right?
Sure.
He reached out and said, hey, a lot of people, like, saying good stuff here. I'm fucking seeing what you're doing. I'd love to come up, you know? We're like, Jesus, yes, please, right? Let's make this fucking happen. So then after COVID, after all the restrictions, like, we're still, like I said, man, we have so much planned for this year. You know, we have more indie names. We have fucking people that are friends that want to come up. We have so much that's going to happen here this year.
Good.
And it's all about just bringing that to those fans, man, to see these kids. Hey, I know that from TV. I know Cheeseburger from YouTube. You know, I've seen him on TV. Like, there's moments that, man, you just, fuck yeah, man. So Mitch versus fucking Matt Cross was like, I was in the fucking front row. Like, I'm not even ashamed to say, like, well, maybe not the front. I was like 2 rows back, but there was only 1 row between me and the action, right?
Okay.
But just watching it as a fan, just to fucking say, here we are. I'm 39. I'm turning 40 on the Jericho Cruise here next week. And we're fucking here in our home fucking community. And this is live in front of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like, it's something that you can't, man, it's just an energy. It's a fucking vibe, you know? Just to know that, and then the kids come up, dude, so we went to the coast. We did our second show in Tuck, right? The community's called Tuck. Okay. It's actually Tuck to Yuck Tuck is the name, but it's just Tuck for short. Everybody calls it Tuck. Fucking, we're there. We did our second show. We had maybe 50 people show up. It was kind of shitty because the thing about the highway is it's an hour and a half, and you lose a lot of light here in the dead of winter. Like, it's dark as hell, right? At like 6 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock is dark as hell. So we don't want to come back at 9 p.m. because we're going to get back at like 11. Like, it's late as fuck, right? So we did earlier shows there. The problem with that is that town is sleepy, right? Nothing happens until fucking at least after supper.
Okay.
We started our show at 4. Big mistake. People are fucking coming in halfway through. What the hell? I'm seeing it on a Facebook and I thought it was 7. Like, fuck. So it's like, we only have 4 matches, right? So we can only do so much, right? So there's like, we were even thinking about the point of like, yo, do we just fucking keep wrestling? Do we just like call an audible and be like, you know what? I want to wrestle this guy right now. Get out here. You know, that kind of thing, right? So after the show, these kids come up and they're like, hey, can you guys sign our caps, like our baseball caps?
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, holy fuck, man. Like, I remember, like, you know, going to an Ottawa Senators game versus the New Jersey Devils when I was like 15, 14 and getting like players to sign my cap, you know? Like, that's a big deal, especially in the North, because a cap is a fucking, like, your hat is your hat. That's your fucking accessory, whether you're inside, outside, or fucking church, whatever, right? You're carrying that thing.
Okay.
So for somebody to write on that is a big deal. Like that's so I remember my laughing moment was like because I signed it. Fuck man, it was a huge compliment to me that some kid was like, "Could you sign it too?" I was like, "Fucking rights, I will." Right? Like absolutely, I will.
Uh-huh.
But then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Yo, kid, pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. I've always loved pro wrestling, but I've had to defend pro wrestling or just shrug it off when people say unflattering things about it."
Right.
Right? Fuck man, I'm like this kid is going to be it's a sobering fucking it's one thing to be at a show to see that be in the adrenaline of it all
Mm-hmm.
and be at the front row and they're fighting all over you and fucking it's like oh right
Uh-huh.
yes, sign my hat. I said it's sobering as fuck to be at school on Monday morning when you're like fuck man this is my favorite hockey team on this cab.
Yeah.
This is my hat that I've had for as long as I've had it. And now these guys are written all over it. And now my friends are going to be like, "Who wrote in your hat?" And then my big joke was, "Oh yeah, just some hockey players." Like just. So I mean, I'm hoping that kid flies the flag because, like you said, Isaac, man, the kid, the 13-year-old, the teenager we have training with us now, he's like, he came forward. He came to us, right, at a show and said, "Hey, man, can I help out?" And I said, "Please." My fucking back is sore. Please, man. So we get him helping out. Next thing you know, he's like helping with production. He's helping us set up, and like not just ring stuff, but like with the merch and with the microphones and the computer and the cameras and stuff. Like he's really helping out a lot. And then he's like, I really want to learn to wrestle. And I'm like, fucking rights. So I was like, I've always been a thing. Like I always, we've been trained by somebody. We're still learning very much so. But like just with what we know about like the roles and stuff and just, basic chain wrestling, like I tell people, I'm like, if you want to get active, this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm getting physically active is through pro wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, like, it's up like I'm fucking should be way fucking fatter than I am, bro. I'm 285 pounds now, and that's me being generous to myself.
Okay.
I should be 800 pounds. I should be not mobile. I should be in a fucking like I should be behind this chair all the time, smelling like cheese. Is how fucking like that's how I treat my body. I don't do anything physical. So when pro wrestling came along, it was my outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people, I say, even if you don't want to make a persona and get in the ring and do this, you're more than welcome to come out and roll with us and grapple around if you want to, right? Like we're doing stuff that obviously it takes a level to get to. I'm not saying holy fuck I'm so trained and whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously you don't want just amateurs jumping in and doing stuff that's going to get hurt.
Right.
We're not suplexing and stuff like that. It's just like locking up and doing different fucking reversals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Light stuff. But I said, if you ever want to get in there and roll with us, we have the ring is a fucking gym mat. And now that it's a pro wrestling ring, thank God we actually got a pro wrestling ring now. Fuck. Dude, it's like fucking cloud, dude. It's a cloud. I took a fucking sidewalk slam in the boxing ring and I felt it for like 3 weeks.
I'm sure.
Dude, it was like it rattled my bones, like in Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat's how they show those brutal fatalities and shit.
Yeah.
Like it was like oh my ribs, like I felt all of that. I took one of them in the new ring and it was like I thought we were up in the air for like 15 seconds. But the replay, because I'm like at least 2 times bigger than my opponent, right? So
Uh-huh.
he picks me, he's strong, but he picked me up and then we went down. But in my head at the moment, I'm like, yeah, whoa, right? Like this is a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man, I don't know. It's a rush. It's a rush that I feel like I want to share with anybody I can, and I'm so pumped because Isaac comes up and he says, "I want to wrestle," and I thought of a name, and we're like, "Okay, well, hit us with it." He's like, "Icicle Isaac."
Uh-oh.
We're like, "Bro, Icicle is amazing." So now he's on my phone as Icicle. So now like I get a so like this kid again, he's a teenager, right? I mean, I remember being that age. Holy fuck.
Yep.
I wish I had somebody that I could talk to or I could look at in my community and say, hey, that guy's doing something that I can align myself with,
Ain't that the
right?
truth? Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I didn't know there was anybody my age or around there was not doing anything productive enough in my community.
Yeah.
That was like, hey man, maybe there was a musician, yeah, for sure. Maybe there was a fucking mechanic that was really gifted and like you know what I mean, like trades, and then maybe there was like fucking smart people and really cool people, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like
But you didn't
the
want to be a
fact,
mechanic.
but that's it.
Yeah.
The fact that this kid like texts me, hey, and I'm like, oh, fuck, like, hi, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? And I'm like, just, whatever, fucking playing game. And he's like, yeah, I'm just listening to Fozzy. I really like these songs. And I'm like, fucking rights, man. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
like fucking
awesome.
right. So I'm like reciprocated to it. I stopped myself because I'm like, hey, man, don't be annoyed with this kid. Don't be annoyed. And I don't mean kid like a fucking kid. I just mean I'm 40. I fucking call somebody who's like 2 years younger than me kid.
Right.
Um, don't be annoyed with this, because just think about that. Have that empathy, that memory of being like, I remember what it was like. I remember the fucking feelings, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So to have something now where this guy feels like he belongs, he's telling his friends about it. So he came along at the show and I was like, yeah, man, of course. And then I get a message from one of my fucking former schoolmates. Like, I went to the school with this girl since we were in fucking kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, that's my little brother. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And
Uh-huh.
she's messaging me like, he's so pumped. He's so excited to get in the ring with you guys once a week and just learn new things, right? And watch you guys and be a part of it and help out. And I was just like, fuck, man, it's so cool to see this thing growing like that,
That
you
that
know?
that's beautiful. That is. That's beautiful. I'm so glad you mentioned that. You'd mentioned earlier you feel like you're jumping the line. In my opinion, you're creating the line. You're starting the line. And at the same time, you're making pioneers out of folks like Cheeseburger, out of Matt Cross, guys that are overdue their due. You're making pioneers out of Mad Dog Marty Sugar, and I really think this thing will last. It sounds like the community's taken to it, and
Yeah.
you're creating that line. So props to you, man. Especially what you're doing for the young folks. I've got 3 kids of my own. I grew up in small town West Virginia. Didn't have shit to do but drugs. So that's what we did.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's it.
So
And
good.
the kids here, the drugs are too expensive, and everybody has a snowmobile. So huffing gasoline, man, is the big thing up here, man.
Yeah. Okay.
It's horrible, dude. It's fucking horrible. Kids in the hospital fucking getting sick, and especially with the weather the way it is, like getting out the elements and stuff. Like we lost like, we've lost a lot of people, but in my memory, there was somebody that was like too intoxicated to go inside, you
Right.
know? And
And
it's just
now
like, fuck, man,
they
that
have
shit
some
that we
sort of
can avoid.
outlet.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, especially now. So my big thing is, whether it be pro wrestling or comedy or short films or whatever you're into, whatever your fucking bag is, podcasting, acting, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the time to do it. Now, in my fucking lifetime, I never ever, and fuck, it sounds so cheap and corny to say, never thought we'd have the technology where I could film and record and edit a whole fucking program on a little computer in my fucking hand.
No,
You
I'm
know?
a year younger than you. I relate. I
Well,
understand.
calculators were never this fucking small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this shit is crazy, man. And now, like, I've got my computer. I'm a fucking dinosaur. These kids, like my daughter, is fucking making fucking like shows and games and fucking playing shit.
Hell yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and you'd mentioned kids and how they're excited about it. My my daughter told me this week that Tim's promotion RSW is coming back to Monongah, and that's where she goes to school. And she bragged to her friends, "My daddy's a part of the wrestling group. My dad, that's
Yep.
that's my dude. If I stop the podcast today, if I never meet another cool wrestler, if I'm never involved in another cool angle, I'm gonna fucking cry." My kid got to brag to her friends. My dad's a part of that. What? Your dad's a part of that? That my kid can brag about that? And like I say, I'm small town West Virginia. It,
Yeah.
so, Tim, thank you, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, bro. And that's it. Is it just it's such a good community. There's so many good people that are just willing to share the
Mm-hmm.
gatekeeping, like, and I hear stories. Like I said, Mad Dog is old school, man. He was brought up in a different generation with gatekeeping, a lot of it, right?
Right.
So fucking just the whole thing, like the whole thing now, people sharing knowledge with each other,
Yep.
you know? There's no more of this crabs in a bucket mentality that you see in other places and other things in my life. That's why I just love the fact that when we came out with TAW and we said we were starting something, this tiny thing up here in the north, there were people that reached out and said, "Hey man, just want to make sure you're doing this right and making sure you're safe," like, because there's so many like backyarders and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and shit like this that you can hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Like there's just like people out there fucking, man, like there's just a whole lot. You want to do it right, because we want to respect it, because we
Right.
said we didn't want to just start something and make a mockery of this thing that we love.
Right.
We really want to be pro wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that means everything. And fuck, people don't get it. Like they're like, like it's a fucking it's two things. It's not just physical activity and fucking exhausting. It's
Mm-hmm.
also the performance of
Yeah.
like the registering and fucking making it, connecting with people.
Making
Like the
people
one thing is,
feel.
but that's it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do comedy and I do wrestling. Comedy, you want people to shut up because you want them to just sort of like enjoy the show, right?
Okay.
Well, pro wrestling, you want that guy in the crowd wants to be a part of it. You make him a part of it, right?
Yep.
You fucking make, I see you there 4 rows back.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see you looking at me and you have interest, then I'm going to look back at you. I'm going to make this about you. If I see that you're upset that I'm beating this guy up, I'm going to fucking bring him right up to you. And I'm going to say, "You like this?" And pow, right? Like, I'm going to fucking make these people remember that shit, man.
Yeah.
Because that's it. You pay the admission. You're there. You're part of it. You're cheering the guys you love. And when they look at you and they give you the thumbs up, boom, right? That
Yep.
fucking feel, that pop.
And that.
Same thing when man, God rest his fucking soul, man. Brody Lee, fucking man, Luke Harper.
Mm-hmm.
It was February 6th. It was my birthday. It was a couple years ago, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, at a house show, WWE Live. I was there in the front row. Wyatt family is out. Bray Wyatt, God damn it, man. Bray Wyatt is a fucking once in a lifetime talent.
Yes.
Everybody else at that untelevised house show, that's when you get to stretch out a bit, right? That's when you get to have fun. You're not on TV. It's not prescribed of you need to do this now and this to set up this and this and this, right?
Uh-huh.
Fucking house shows, man. Everybody at that house show breaking character, having fun,
Hell yeah.
engaging with the crowd, having a good time. Bray Wyatt was the exception. Bray Wyatt came out there and fucking was him, just the man, right? He was the man.
Uh-huh.
And I was front row. My wife got me a front row seat for this house show for my birthday. And I just remember I had fucking at least $100 worth of merch. I still have the fucking Money in the Bank briefcase and the fucking black sheep mask here from that show.
Hell yeah.
Fucking, I've got the lantern now. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. I fucking put my arms out and I just screamed, "Follow the buzzards," as loud as I could. And Bray was standing on the middle rope, like doing his kind of thing with his arms out. And I'll never forget, he turned back and looked down at me and just locked eyes with me for a second, but didn't change his facial expression.
Uh-huh.
And then just looked away and did his thing. And I was like, yo, that was just chilling, man. Like,
Yeah.
just chilling. Because he could have been like, yo, or just, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he just stared was like, bro, you're fucking connecting with me. Fucking fast forward, New Orleans WrestleMania. We just arrived. It was New Orleans or was it New York? Maybe it was New York. Was it New Orleans? It was 34 or 35.
Okay.
34. Fucking, we're just getting the arena. Where the fuck are we going? Nobody knows. There's an ATM. My buddy's using the ATM. Fucking steel doors start coming up. And you see the pants. You see the shirt. And you see the dreads. And I'm like, no fucking way. This is Bray Wyatt right here. And he's just walking by us. And I put my hand up for a high five. He gives me a high five. I'm like, brother, go kill it. He's like, always. My buddy took a picture of it. I just, biggest mark in my life. I'm the biggest mark ever. And
Hey,
I was like, bro, man, we're at Wrestle fucking Mania. And he just walks by us like, cool, right?
that
Like, this is fucking it.
that's what it's all about. That's something that only we understand. When you was talking about making that connection, that it's
Yeah.
not just for kids. It makes me feel like a kid when I go to those
That's it.
shows and you make that. You hit the nail on the head. Like it.
Dude, this is
I've
why
seen
people watch
80-year-old women get
movies.
into it.
Yeah, man, this is why fucking people watch movies. This is why people listen to music. This is why people like emotions because it brings it out in you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be, oh, I fucking hate that guy. Great, man. Oh, I love this guy so much. Look at him. Wow, oh my God. Yeah, then awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, like I tell you, what I was saying, that's where I was going before though with Luke Harper. Fucking he's out there, Bray Wyatt's wrestling, fucking Eric and Luke are walking around there, fucking doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking Luke walks by me and I just like fucking just slaps his hand. I just slap his hand as he's walking by, like high five, right?
Uh-huh.
He stops and he looks at me and he looks at his hand. And I'm like, yo. And I put my hand up.
Mm-hmm.
He puts his hand out like low, right? He goes low.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. I go in for the biggest fucking, and he just moves it at the last second. And I just swoop down. Fuck, man. The first 2 rows lit the fuck up. Everybody laughed. I didn't see it coming. Of course he's going to fucking move his hand, right?
Uh-huh.
But I was so into the moment. I was just like acknowledging what? You're going to high five? Yeah, fucking rights, I will. Whoosh. Just airball, dude. Like I fucking probably threw my fucking shoulder out. That's how fucking like I expected to feel this man's hand go. Right? Like I put it all in and everybody around me. And so I'm like laughing with them and I'm like, well, yay. And everybody's just laughing. And fuck, man. It's moments like that, you
Yep.
know? I got a picture of me, my daughter, man. My daughter is 14 now. When she was like young enough to like fucking sit in my lap,
Mm-hmm.
to old enough to just like this isn't for me. There was a good 4 or 5 year stretch where we just watched wrestling together, played the video games, played with the toys, like everything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I brought her to a house show. We fucking got on the Titantron there because at a house like at a fucking intermission, everybody just rocks off for a piss.
Uh-huh.
So I fucking took her to the bathroom before the intermission. We're sitting there and she's like, can we go get some candy? I'm like, for sure. And then the producer's like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you with the kid come here for a second? Do you guys want to be up on the Tron? We're like, yeah. And they played, it was trivia. And it was the WrestleMania moment with The Rock and the Wyatt family.
Okay.
Problem with this is my fucking brain is fucking Swiss cheese at this point because I don't remember fuck all, right?
Okay.
I smoke a ton of dope. So I'm just like, I watched that WrestleMania live. 100% I did. Do I remember what happened? No.
I understand.
So we're in the middle there. The camera is like from me to the fucking thing, like this.
Uh-huh.
My daughter's here, right? And luckily I had my fucking super fan buddy with me and he's just off to 3 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, play the clip. What's going to happen next? A, B, or C? And my buddy goes, C. And I'm like, okay, he's not going to fail me, right? So I'm like, ready? You got your answer? And I said, okay, Paige, say C, say C. She goes, C. And it was C.
Okay.
And then I'm watching the next part and they're like, and now what's going to happen next? And I was like, I don't remember at all, right? And then and the fucking camera guy is standing here. The producer is behind him and he's going, B, B, right? And I'm like, B, 100% B, right? Like, just trying to walk it off, but never like, and like I said, I put myself in front of the camera all the fucking time, right?
Uh-huh.
But to be in the atmosphere of a few thousand, I think there was like 5,000 people or something in the corral, like the small arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking house show, thousands of people, right in the moment. My daughter's on my arm. Of course I'm high. Of course I'm having a good time. It's just like, yeah, fuck, man. This light is pretty bright. Man, but it's just it's those things. And to circle back to it, I think to close it off, give it a little bit of closure.
Mm-hmm.
To be part of that now, to be giving back to that as part of TAW, as the principal owner slash promoter, I think it's fucking amazing that now, like you said, and I've heard this before too, and I can acknowledge in my brain, I'm pretty aware of it, the fact that we are creating something that's never happened here before that will live on, please, longer than we're going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not going to be fucking old Ric Flair here, fucking retiring 8 times here, wishing it was not my last match.
So you
But like,
say.
that's what I say exactly. But I mean, the fucking the Carney in me wants me to keep going until I die, right? So we'll see, we'll see. But I mean, honestly, man, it's just something that I love being a part of. I love watching it since I was a kid. People ask me what do I love about it, and I just can't answer it. And
Everything.
now that I'm right in the middle of it all,
Yeah.
it's even more so.
Yeah.
You even realize even more. This is exactly what I fucking love doing,
Yep.
and it's just I love every bit of it. And yes, it's stressful. Fucking yes, it can be stressful, and yes, it can be disappointing when politics get involved, egos get involved. But I mean, it is what it is, man. It's entertainment at
Yep.
the end of the day, and it's so much fun. I would never fucking trade it for the world. The fact that I'm literally 24 hours away from seeing my sister in the big city of Edmonton, and on my way to Miami for the Jericho Cruise to see wrestling is fucking mind blowing. The fact that I'm becoming friends with some of these guys now
Yeah.
is mind, right?
I get it.
Like I spent the second cruise, I spent a lot of time hanging out with Marco. So when it was like time to go to see I wanted to go get a picture with Lucha Express.
Uh-huh.
Or Jurassic Express.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I go down and there's Luchasaurus and Marco and Jungle Boy. And Marco says, yo, this is my boy. This is Dez. He's a good guy. And I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Cool. And they're like, hey, Dez, hey. And I'm like, hey. And then fucking step on Jungle Boy's fucking open-toed sandals. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry, guys. So the photo, he's like, no, it's cool. It's cool. And I'm like, totally was not cool. Like, so it's the shit like that, man. It's like it's something that I just can't wait to be a part of, like even more in my life. And I realize I'm not going to get to wrestle forever. I'm 40 years old, not athletic. I've never been athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just that commentary chair is fucking the headset is calling to me, right? It's going to be something I want to be a part of. But again, with AEW the way it is, and with what I mean, like with the internet the way it is, and I can make a video, a promo video, and send it out, tweet it, and resumes can go out, and I can get somebody's attention. I'm a filmmaker by trade, by heart. I would love to be in the industry,
Yeah.
as a writer, as a creative, as just a production, as ring crew, fucking anything, you know.
Yep.
If being on the Bahamas and to Miami has taught me anything, it's that like, dude, I don't need to live up in the Arctic. Just because I was born here doesn't mean I have to fucking stay here until I die, you know. So me and the family are making plans to move down to Alberta where I can get my comedy and wrestling really into another gear.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I don't have a long time here, and my bump card is, man, there was like the first bump card ever got issued in a negative. You know what I mean? It was already fucking owed. It was already up, man. It was already up. So like, I'm already. It's like. So what kind of match you want to wrestle this time, Des? The ones. The ones Yoko had really towards the end. Like,
Jesus.
and I'm like, Andre towards the end. Just really using these fucking like, guys before they retire. Tatanka, but like 2019 Tatanka.
You can tell you're a comedian by trade. I don't think I've laughed this much on a podcast ever, so it's appreciated.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Well, hey, man, look, this has been fucking awesome, dude. We have to do this again. Is what we got to do.
I was going to say the same thing. We've already went over the hour time limit. I definitely want you back as soon as possible. I know you're a busy man, but know what you're doing, man.
Let's talk about the tour next time, okay? When I come back,
okay.
I'm back on February 21st. So a month from now, let's do it almost to the day.
Okay.
We could fucking do a recap of the last month of my life, and I guarantee you, I will either be quit of pro wrestling or my body will be broken.
It's been an honor, man. It really has. Like I say, I don't even think you realize what you're doing. I think you do, but you don't to the extent that I see it.
Cool.
Just
That's
from the
cool.
first time talking to you. Keep killing it. Kick Cheeseburger's ass.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it.
Tell Chris Jericho I said hello.
Will do. I will do, man.
Tell him Spooky Lou said hello and get back to me with his reaction. And also, one perk of this wrestling business, I'm open all day to crazy videos you want to send me, so I'll just throw that your way. We'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah,
It's been an honor.
We made the connection. Thank you, Tim. Tim is connecting people here through wrestling. This is fucking great.
Did it. Thank you, Tim. I thank Tim as well. Actually, our next guest on the podcast, so tune into that one. It's going to be a wild one. Any final words? Anything you want to plug? Any words of inspiration to my viewers? Anything at all? Floor is yours.
Hey, honestly, man, if anybody is listening to this, everybody's watching this, having a good time with us, because this has definitely been fucking really cool. Follow your passions, man. Whatever your fucking freak flag is, just fly it, you know? If you get ridiculed for something, or if you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this in front of people, then just do it in any capacity you want. You know what I mean? Whether, like, I'm into performing arts, obviously. I love to just entertain. I love to talk. I love to do all that stuff. But if it's more introverted, whatever it might be, like, you know, my wife is very much an artist, but she's not outgoing like I am. So my daughter's got this weird blend of both of us.
Okay.
But just be yourself, unapologetically, but respectfully. Be yourself.
I appreciate that more than you know, because I'll go into my ending lines. What do I tell you guys every episode? Treat each other kindly. Be positive. Live your dreams. Be yourself. You heard it. The man knows. The man started a wrestling promotion. He's fighting Cheeseburger. He's friends with Chris Jericho, for God's sake. So he's doing something right. Be yourself. It's been another grade A human on WrestleRoni. I couldn't be more happy with the episode. We're going to have his man back, believe me. Go kick Cheeseburger's ass. What an Eskimofo you are. It's been great. It's been great. To my listeners and viewers, go do something. Do something positive. Live your dreams. Check out Total Arctic Wrestling on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. You don't even have to put it in the search bar.
We're on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Facebook and Instagram as well. Shit, you got options.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you again.
Good times.